Good morning, everybody, and thank you for coming to today's Restaurant News Networking meeting. I'm your man, Howard of Hell.
The teeth are the same.
We are a group of vendors who are here to help each other grow each other's business and to help any restaurateur with any problems or have answers to questions that they might have. So if you'd like to reach us, give us a call at 561-620-8888 or go to our website at trnusa.com and take a look at our YouTube channel, which has over 300 videos on it, and that is at Today's Restaurant. And today we are broadcasting live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, in a dreary, rainy day. Not, I brought sunglasses, being from Florida, but haven't used them yet. Anyway, Tracy, you want to start us off with the intros, and then we'll get into a couple of the questions that I have.
Sure. I am Tracy Pumo. I'm with Skyline Analytics. We are a full-service business intelligence consulting firm, specifically specializing in data analytics, FP&A consulting, data integration, process automation. We provide middle market companies with fully customized reporting solutions to help them gain visibility into their financial data. And we make recommendations on actionable business insights to help them basically increase profitability through smarter data-driven decision making. I can be reached at 561-512-1933.
Okay, thank you. Rick, good morning.
Good morning, Rick Israel with based here in Huntsville, Alabama. We are an independent insurance brokerage firm. We help individuals that are leaving the group field going into the Medicare space. Our services are offered at zero cost because if you decide to enroll through us, we do get paid by the insurance companies. But that does not mean that we sway we get paid because we get paid the same regardless of what company we put you in.
Uh-oh, he froze. He looks very handsome that way.
Welcome to Vesuvius and Pompeii.
You want to finish it again?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I froze?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was your best you've ever done.
Again.
Well, do you want me to start again, or just where did I lose? Where did you lose me at?
Right after hello.
Oh, really? Golly, that sucks. Okay. Hello, my name is Rick Israel. With Archie Insurance Agency, we are an independent brokerage firm. We help individuals who are leaving the group medical space going into Medicare. We can assist you enroll into Medicare Advantage plans, prescription drug plans, Medicare supplements. We offer our service at a zero cost to you because we do get compensated by the insurance company. We are licensed in Alabama, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, and Mississippi. If we can be of any assistance, I can be reached at 256-937-2537. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just going to go to Ed, but somebody got to him before me. Let's go to Brian Auerbach.
Good morning, everyone. Brian Auerbach with InfoSync Comprehensive Business Process Solutions. We are an outsourcer of finance and accounting, payroll, and also third-party delivery recovery services. So we work with multi-unit restaurants mostly that often find accounting and payroll frustrating and expensive. So we provide the process, technology, and experience to help your business run more profitably. I can be reached at 786-670-1027 or Brian, Auerbach, AUERBACH at ISSVC.com.
Okay. Let's go to the other Brian. Just
Good morning, everybody. Brian with the Rogue Financial Group. We are a commercial equipment financing company. We work from small to large projects, primarily in the hospitality industry, which, be more specific, we finance furniture, fixtures, and equipment, front of the house, back of the house. We also, last week was at a convenience store show. We also do convenience stores. And again, we are a commercial equipment financing company. I could be reached at 404-723-7222.
was that show good?
Yeah. I was going to talk more about it, but I know we have kind of a limit on time, but yeah. Yeah.
You sent me a list yesterday. Was that from that show?
Yeah, I'll send one real quick, Tracy. I sent one to Brian, but I'll send you a list of everybody that attended the convenience store show so you can have that. Okay. And but yeah, I mean, I made some tractions. So
Yeah. Tracy, at that show, there were a lot of people who were doing analytics there.
yeah.
The people right next to us, they did site surveys, traffic counts, the basic analytics. And there was a lot of other people like that, and they were crowded all day. So people are looking at that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
if I can say
Anybody
it that way.
doing financial analytics or?
There was somebody in the other room.
The room doing that, yeah.
Because me and Ed were in the same booth, but I actually, real quick, Ed, I talked to that guy, Brad, and we're
Yep,
going to
okay.
continue a conversation. Let me get some more conversations with him, and then I'll share it with Tracy and Brian. It was sort of a short conversation yesterday, but I think, and kind of my conversation with them yesterday was they kind of do the beginning where they analyze and look for spots and things that are going to fit these convenience stores. So real quick, Howard, I'll give them an overview on how this all works. So you have the jobbers. The jobbers are the guys where you get the oil and you get your franchise. So they sort of work in between the client and the jobber so they can get that brand there. So then after that would be something like Brian and Tracy would kind of come in there and be helping them once they get open and everything. So, but again, yeah, there was a lot of stuff like that.
Well, interesting you say that, Brian. There were people who stopped and talked to me when I was talking to them about ice cream equipment. They were asking me for the profitability of equipment. And I know a lot of that stuff, but I think, Tracy, that would be something. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people there that are looking for financial packages to guide them.
Yeah, we can do
by the
that.
question, yeah, the people were asking us questions, and I couldn't go into detail like you could. So it's amazing. And I know at the Florida Restaurant Show, the last couple of years, we've had people ask us those kind of questions. So it may be something to look at this year.
Okay. Yeah. Can you send me the show name and I'll look at it?
Yeah, I'll put everything together and send it to you.
Thank you.
Hey,
We
Ed,
haven't
real quick,
really done a formal show yet. I mean, 100% of our business has just grown on word of mouth, but maybe we should start looking at a couple shows.
but like with Ed's equipment, we talked about his equipment has value to it because whether it's 5 years old, I mean, and that's why his is somewhat more expensive than your other brands out there, right, Ed? Yours holds value. I mean, it could go 10 years without breaking. I mean, unless he has somebody there that wants to abuse it. But yeah, it was telling people that this is
The show was in Myrtle Beach, right?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Myrtle Beach in quite a few years. The last time I was there, every quarter of a mile was another buffet place, also owned by one family. It was one name. I can't remember the name, but it was like a seafood buffet.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Myrtle Beach as a convention city?
It's a secondary city, and that show, I think the booths in that show are sold out. I don't think there was an open space available.
No, there wasn't. No.
Okay, so Myrtle Beach is a secondary city. The motels are not necessarily the best, The food is not the best. Like Orlando isn't even considered. Well, I shouldn't say that. Orlando doesn't get a lot of the big shows because they don't have enough 5-star restaurants and hotels within walking distance of the convention center. That's what I think. 3 of the top 5 locations in the country are all in Las Vegas for conventions.
But
so you have Las Vegas, you got Orlando, Florida, and you got Chicago. And San Francisco has dropped off the list now because people aren't going to San Francisco anymore.
Yeah.
But to add to Ed's thing, actually, if you get outside of the area of 17, which is where the hotels are, there's a lot of development going towards Conway, and there's a lot of restaurants that locals will go to, which I was driving around and just kind of looking, and there's a lot of different places that are not buffets or, the locals will go to. But yeah. And then also real quick, I'll show it to you. Ed, Howard, I'll send this. That's the program I picked up for you.
Okay.
And I'll send you a couple if you want to give them out to some people. But that's the program. I'll mail it to you. Okay. But yeah, but like I said, I think it was a good show. I moved the booth from the way back to the front, which I think helped me and Ed get some more traction because last year we didn't we got some traction, but we were sort of all the way in the back. So, but yeah.
A couple of months ago, I helped the Southeast Food Service and I forget what it's, Southeast Food Service and Hospitality Expo. I helped them do their promotion, and they sold out as far as booths. But I heard from third hand, I didn't get it directly, but the traffic wasn't that great. Mm-hmm. So I'm just concerned about Myrtle Beach being a draw. Are people going to go there to a show?
Howard, I was told by people up there that the traffic count was a third higher this year than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
At that show.
One of the attractions for Myrtle Beach is supposedly more golf courses than most any other places, and
Well, a lot of the people going to that show don't play golf.
Well, I quit playing golf when that windmill kept hitting my ball. So
that's right.
I did play golf there when I was there last time. In fact, that was the last time I played golf. It was crazy. But no, I was just curious about Myrtle Beach because the show that I helped do the marketing for, they've been doing it there for 50 years. And I don't know. I don't know if there's a future there.
Well, as I can say, we saw a list of people who came by our booth, but also for me, I created some new relationships with some different vendors, so which was good for me. And I saw some old clients, some clients that I've been working with. Like for instance, me and Ed talked, like sometimes it take a year to come back around. And but yeah, I think it's a good show. I think I think I was happy with it. Just have to work the leaves I got. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, let's go to Chris Kaufman.
Good morning, everybody. Chris Kaufman, CHRIS, Kaufman and Company. CHRIS, not only 5 letters of my name, but also a wonderful acronym for clubs, hotels, restaurants, institutions, and sales. So if you can remember what the R stands for in CHRIS, raise your hand. All right, let me repeat. CHRIS. All right. We provide all-star talent to primarily restaurant companies. About 80% of our work is in the restaurant industry. And we have small independent restaurants that have 1 or 2 locations. We've also done work with New York Stock Exchange companies, such as Marriott and Darden and Brinker, but also the independent places, because the reality is everybody would like to have quality talent. And there comes a time in the staffing needs of companies where they have more of a need than they can really reach out on their own. So we provide that all-star talent. This past week, learned a couple things. Hush puppies are back at Red Lobster. Okay, 50 years ago, yesterday, I started my restaurant management career at Red Lobster, March 14th, 1974, and we made Hush puppies. Okay, and then Hush puppies gave way to Cheddar Bay biscuits. Well, I talked with a guy who just left Red Lobster as the corporate chef, and I said, "So sad to see Hush puppies never came back." He said, "I brought them back." And sure enough, Hush puppies are back. So that's exciting.
Is Red Lobster still owned by Darden?
Oh no, they spun them off years ago. It was purchased by a seafood brokerage company out of Thailand, and then it's a mixed bag in terms of who owns it today. But the headquarters are still in Orlando. They kept the headquarters offices in Orlando, but it's been gone from Darden for a long, probably 15 years.
That long.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're doing too good right now either.
No, they've got some challenges. In summation, the anecdotal evidence is that the service level does not match up to where the check average is. The check average is kind of high for the service that you're getting, and the ambiance and all that other stuff.
If I understood correctly, they had a promotion a while ago for all you can eat shrimp for like $15, and they lost hundreds of millions of dollars on that promotion because people were eating more shrimp than they figured.
Well, you know.
What about Olive Garden? They still own that?
Yeah, Darden still owns that, and that's doing very well.
Is it really?
Yeah.
And what's the steakhouse? They've got Fleming?
Longhorn Steakhouse.
Which one?
Longhorn Steakhouse is Darden.
Right, but didn't they get another upscale?
Yeah.
Ruth's Chris.
Ruth's Chris.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Ruth's Chris.
And they have Eddie V. And they have Seasons 52 and Bahama Breeze.
Bahama Breeze. What about BJ's? Do they own BJ's Brewhouse?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I'll get a copy of the annual report and I'll give you an answer next week.
So. Oh my God.
Well, they own the Capitol Grill too.
Yeah, that is correct. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Capitol Grill.
Capitol Grill, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So Chris Kaufman, CHRIS, Kaufman and Company, providing all-star talent. And if you can remember anything, you can remember the word all-star, ALLSTAR. And if you can't remember that, you can remember the numbers, 404-255-7827, which spells 404 All-Star. I can't make it much easier, kids.
Ed, you've earned your spot today. You follow Chris.
Well, it's my lucky day. The sun is shining, so I'm happy right now. So that's okay. My name is Ed Gerton with Seacoast Sales in Orange Park, Florida, which is just outside of Jacksonville, Florida. We are a company that supplies restaurant equipment that specializes in frozen dessert equipment. So we have ice cream machines, batch freezers, soft serve machines, mixed treat machines, Pasto chef equipment made by Carpigiani. We have display cases from ISA, IFI, and GTI Designs. We have slushy machines from Carpigiani Horeca and continuous churning ice cream machines by BGI out of Italy. You can reach me at 904-334-4489. Have a good day.
Okay.
Carpigiani out of Italy?
What?
Yeah.
Is Carpigiani?
Carpigiani.
Is that out of Italy?
Yes, it is.
Hey, Carpigiani.
Yeah.
Actually, Carpigiani is in the north of Italy, not from the south of Italy, where you have the the buddies. They never had a bad deal.
Yeah. You think I'm funny, like a clown? Huh? Do I amuse you?
Every machine comes with a margarita pizza.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm Howard Appel. I'm the founder and publisher of Today's Restaurant News since 1996. And we are a digital newspaper, and we also provide email marketing, restaurant leads reports, and these crazy, wacky networking meetings every Friday. And if you'd like to join us, just give us a call at 561 620 8888. Over the last couple of weeks, I've been spending a little bit of time on the groups on LinkedIn and Facebook and getting questions from some of the members. And this one came up and sort of interesting. So let me read it to you and then we can discuss it. Let's see. Oh, Tracy is gone. Okay.
Had to go get another degree.
All right. I have a dilemma. That sounds like the name of a movie. I have a dilemma. A few of my employees have gotten together and talked about their salaries. Now they both want a raise because they both don't think it's fair what they're making. One of them even compared himself to a third employee who makes more than him, even though he works harder. But the third employee started working with us earlier. What should I do in this situation? They're both good employees that I don't want to lose, but I feel like they're putting me against the wall. Any thoughts?
Did the writer indicate if these are management people or these are?
Didn't say. This is an anonymous post.
Yeah.
All I have is what I read. See, it seems to me like it's like a, I forget the word. They're putting the screws to them.
A conundrum.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like one of the big HR issues. I know a lot of times people like to keep it again, like kind of what Chris was saying, if they're both the same level, whether it be assistant manager, whatever, unless there's like a shift differential, having them at the same number, right? But again, we don't know the profitability of the company, stuff like that, what the role of the third person is. So, I mean, there's a lot of variable questions that need to be answered. And it's also, if you don't want to lose them, right? I mean, the costs, I mean, we can talk about, with Chris, like the cost of losing them and replacing them, what that's going to cost. Is it worth maybe ponying up a little bit more money?
But then some people's personality. If you do that to somebody, they get their the dander up and they get defiant and they might can them both.
Correct. I mean, so it depends on your management style. It
But
depends also what your handbook says too. Like, so if your handbook has a policy on this, which probably sounds like it doesn't, if they even have a handbook.
it doesn't sound like they have a handbook in this
No.
situation.
So I mean, but that's I mean, again, there's some really big process and procedure errors in here, right? So it's kind of like going back to point one is if you do want to keep them, well, you probably should put something in place, and maybe it's a gradual increase as well, so let them kind of earn it or merit it. But then you probably should also have the handbook and all the other goodies in place. So I see Chris nodding his head, so I'm going to take that as he agrees.
Yep.
As soon as you tell one party, I'll give you a raise, but don't tell anybody. That's the first thing they're going to do is tell the other people.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes if you start talking pay and how much you get paid on the sales floor, that's some companies say that's a ground for termination.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to discuss your pay, because that's exactly what happens. I mean, I remember my boss coming to me one time. He goes, "Rick, I hate to say this. I know you've been with the company, X amount of years, but you're topped out." No, I'm not. You just don't want to go to bat for me because you don't think I'm worthy enough to get paid more. Because there's always room. I mean, especially nowadays when I topped out at like $22 an hour, and you're starting new people at $16 to $17 an hour, you're going to tell them within a year they're topped out? No, you're not going to keep people at that point.
Yeah.
Well, this is a different labor market than it was when we started working. And now the owners are scared they're going to lose people, so they're trying to do everything they can to keep them, whether they're good or not.
Yeah.
Well, Howard, that goes into what Chris likes to preach about: benefits, 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 benefits. The pay is important, and you have to be able to afford the benefits. But if you don't offer what the people need to take care of their family besides the pay, you're not going to keep them regardless. And a lot of these companies, these independent business owners who own small restaurants, they may not be able to afford health insurance.
Yeah.
I mean, you write a check to the Big Blue once a month, you're talking several thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
when I graduated college, I graduated and went into the garment industry, and the garment industry was headquartered in the United States at that time, and I used to go to different factories around the country and set the piece rate number. In other words, if somebody in the factory was sewing collars on a shirt, that was worth X amount of cents per shirt. And the more they did, the more they got paid. So I sort of thought about that. And since the garment industry has left the United States, but let's take, for example, in a hotel, you've got people cleaning rooms. Basically, the rooms are all the same, except for the amount of beds in a room. So standards could be established for a single room, a double room, a king size room, and the people who are working to clean the rooms could have an X amount of a base that they have to do per day, and anything above that, they get a little bit more. And the hotel will benefit by the rooms being ready earlier and hopefully better because they have a spec book to go on. And that's going to
Howard,
shoot me down.
You're forgetting something in all that equation with the rooms. There's something called the Service Employees Union. And you can't tell how many rooms are going to, they have a set number of rooms they clean a day per person, and that's it. If there's more rooms, you have to hire more people.
And not only that, Howard, you go to a hotel room now, there's always something somewhere in the room that says your room is serviced every other day unless you request service that day. When the Hilton that we stayed in Savannah, we had to go down to the desk twice to get towels. I mean, that's a staple item. Okay. We had to go down and get toilet paper. Okay. I mean, it's because they're not serving. And that all started with COVID. All started with COVID. They said, we're not going to clean your room every other day. And we were there for 3 days, and they never cleaned our room, which means they should have cleaned the room the last night we were there. They didn't do it. So either they don't have the help or they're not following the rules.
We probably took a look and
I'll take the latter part. I'll take the latter part of the two, because I saw a lot of cleaning ladies.
I think it's both, because I was in Savannah on the 23rd of February when I went to see the Savannah Bananas, and we were there only 2 nights. And they said, well, if you need cleaning or whatever, you come down and ask, whatever. Okay. So I went down the last day we were there, because they only gave you towels for 1 day or whatever. And I asked for towels and never brought it. I was like, okay. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's a combination of both. I think it's laziness, not following policy. I think labor. So,
well, give you a perfect example of a work ethic. The people who owned the hotel in Whitehill, I'm not going to give you the name of the hotel, but they were immigrants, and they came to this country, and somehow they opened up this hotel. and they had it for many years, and they sold it. And they sold it to open the hotel that I'm staying at now. So they had several months, close to a year probably, while this hotel was being built, that they were out of work. And they're a husband and wife team. Well, I was up here during that building time, and when it brought a couple of the kids into McDonald's, and lo and behold, the owner of the hotel was behind the counter working at McDonald's. And I asked her about it yesterday, and she said, I had nothing to do. I had to do something. I want to work. And whatever money that they made, was icing on the cake. But you would never find that with Generation X, Y, or Z right now.
Well, Howard, you speak about that. Brian, just on Interstate 16, the first exit you get to outside of Savannah, there's a McDonald's. And, we said, we're not going to eat breakfast at the hotel. We'll just sleep in and we'll stop at McDonald's on the way out. It was the first McDonald's I ever went to that's full kiosk, 100% kiosk. There's one person behind the counter. Okay. He was the laziest, most inconsiderate young man I have ever met in my entire life. My wife walked up and said, can I get some packs of ketchup? He gives her one.
Yeah.
Can I get some napkins? Gives her two. And she says, I think I'm going to need a little bit more than this. And looked at her like she was interrupting that he was doing absolutely nothing. It was just like, that's the generation that's out there now that's taking care of us.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I wonder if it's not an order coming down from management in the restaurant.
I doubt that, because the restaurant, the back room was running smoothly. I mean, it was the most smooth running because they're not having to run up front and take orders. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is what $16 an hour gets you. It gets you a kiosk to take your order and get some 17-year-old kid to give you a pack of ketchup. And you're inconveniencing his day because he just wants to stand there and do nothing and get paid $16 an hour.
It's not a total generational failure, because somehow Chick-fil-A is able to pull it off. And
I agree. And at that point, and I agree with you, Chris, at that point, it has to come with the style of the restaurant and style of not the store management, but upper management. Because Chick-fil-A, when they started, they had a standard that you have to meet. Okay. But you want to talk about Chick-fil-A, Chris. So my son works for Chick-fil-A. They're getting ready to tear their restaurant down to rebuild a new one. Same location. The franchise owner posted it on Snapchat of their close date before they even told their employees.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Now, on top of that, where the employees are now being told, if there's not a location for you, you have no job. If there is a location for you, you have to re-interview for the new position for the new store. What kind of job security is that anywhere nowadays? And that's Chick-fil-A. That chafes me, because that's not Chick-fil-A standard.
Well, I'm sorry. What about profit sharing in a restaurant? Is that a viable?
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. But getting back to this lady who had the question, or this man, whatever, what should they do? The answer is, Brian gave the answer in his initial comment, a handbook. Okay. And if you don't have a handbook, at least write something down to say, we do evaluations once a year. We do evaluations every 6 months. And the determination factor in terms of who makes more money around here is determined by value. Now, if you think you're providing more value than what you're getting paid for, put it in writing, and we will definitely have a wonderful win-win discussion at evaluation time.
Yeah, so but there's a problem with that. There's a problem with that because a lot of people are taking offense to the fact that you have to have value. Value has nothing to do with it anymore.
I know. And that started with giving the little kids the trophies when they come in last place. I'm sorry. I expect it.
I got a lot of trophies. Last.
How would a profit sharing program be structured? I'm not clear on this. Let's say, for example, let's just take a number. There's $100,000 profit in the first 6 months or whatever. Do you set aside a portion of that profit for the profit sharing, or
Yeah. So you'd lay, well, I mean, again, where I don't think any of us are professionals on this, but what I've seen in profit shares is it's laid out in the guidelines, a certain percentage of profit, right? So
uh-huh.
at the end of the day, the ownership's got to get paid what they got to get paid. And then they break a certain piece of that off and says what it is. Basically, it's, could be calculated by an algorithm too. And then, you usually set long-term goals, right? So it's usually a 3-year vesting period, but you give it to all the employees. And then a lot of these, unfortunately, profit share programs are used to put more money in the owner's pockets too. Because if you have people that aren't going to be there for the 3-year vesting period,
Yep.
it lumps back into the big pile that goes to ownership.
But then the question that you have to do, Brian Auerbach, is do you structure the percentage for every type of employee? Or because when I was working for Lowe's, if you were upper management, you got a larger percentage.
Yeah, there's a
Those that
carve
are
out
doing,
programs too, so that gets into discrimination testing, which is a whole other. It's too bad Tracy's not, because I'm sure she would know all up and down about this. So I'm sure she's got a master's in this one too. So,
Yeah.
you know what happens, and the thing is it's like, you run into some retail stores and management's just sitting there on their duff, just directing and doing absolutely nothing other than just, telling everybody what to do. And the workers out there, the worker bees, are making sure the customer's taken care of, the money's coming in, pushing the credit cards, doing this, doing that. And their profit sharing is this compared to somebody who's doing absolutely nothing, sitting on their
yeah.
butt, getting profit sharing like this. And that's the problem with profit sharing, because it's not a set standard. And I think it should be a set standard, because if it wasn't for the worker bees, the managers sitting on their butt wouldn't be making a profit. I'm sorry,
Doesn't the auto industry have profit sharing with the union? And I think they go as a percentage of the profit. It gets distributed to all the employees. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure.
there
But
there
that's
have been. I'm just wondering, whether like a mom and pop restaurant, what's profit sharing is usually for the corporate operations, but like a mom and pop restaurant.
the mom and pop restaurant would probably be the tips is the profit sharing.
Yeah.
Real quick, I had a client out in Colorado had several Dunkin' Donuts, and I guess he had a lot of turnover. Well, because most of the people that worked there were kids, high school kids, and so he decided to implement this thing. So he said, if you stay here 30 days, and if you stay here 30 days, and if you go beyond that on your 45 days on your paycheck, you'll get a little bonus based on profit of the location. So he said it could be from $50 to $75 extra. Okay. Then if you stay 60 days, you get another one, little bonus, and then I'm gonna take you all out to dinner for pizza, whatever, to help keep these kids there. And and then as it goes on, he would increase whatever the profit was. Then he also had a commissary where he would deliver the raw product to each location. Had a little trouble there with this kid. You would, if you had to be, I think, 17, he would take and deliver to his 8 locations. He had between 4 and 8 o'clock. All you had to do is take the rack off the truck and roll it into the refrigeration there at these Dunkin' Donuts. This kid he does it for 2 days. He says, "Man, this is tough. Driving this truck and pulling this rack off the trailer. It was all you up and down, right?" So he hires this guy. My light went out. Well, there you go, lights out. So he hired this guy. I guess he was about 55, somewhat retired. And the guy says, "I'll drive it for 4 hours a day, $20 an hour." Guy was happy, but we are talking about how to maybe, I guess, compensate or how to keep people.
There have been studies done, and I don't know whether they apply today, but there were studies done at some point that money is not the number one motivator for people on a job. I guess uh, status and respect on the job is one of the things that people look for,
Yeah,
and also other types of rewards. So,
yeah,
for a small mom and pop restaurant, rather than having a profit sharing kind of a thing,
yeah,
maybe they should have something like uh, biannually or
mm-hmm.
quarterly or yearly. At the end of that time, the number one employee gets a 50-inch TV sent to their house.
Yeah,
You know, think a weekend vacation at a resort. Uh, the price that the mom and pop restaurant would pay for the gift and pay for that would be far less than profit sharing, and probably bring in more uh, more positive feedback than anything else. And it might avoid the situation of this person getting held up by their employees.
yeah,
Well, Brian, you were saying about this Dunkin' Donuts, and we're going to give you a little bonus. We're going to give you a little bonus here.
yeah,
Well, those type of jobs, and there's no disrespect to anybody that's ever worked that type of job, but
yeah.
those are stepping stone jobs. Those are the jobs you
Right, right.
get just to get you through high school. Okay, so let's say you got this one kid that's 17 years old, and the owner sees really something in them that could possibly be for growth. What
Yeah,
kind of incentive are these companies doing to help these individuals grow into possible franchise owners?
mm-hmm.
Okay, or upper management type positions.
Yeah,
I mean, nowadays you drive through McDonald's drive-through, upper management, they're knocking on 90K a year.
yeah,
Okay, I mean, what kind of incentive do you think these owners should do for their employees to get to them to that point?
mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
Chris, that's probably a question you could possibly answer too. I mean, you're in the recruiting business. I mean, what are these owners looking for in employees to help grow the possible opportunity?
Well, a lot of them are better at conveying their culture than others. Um, but whatever you do come up with as far as compensation, it has to match up with the philosophy of the employee. Because one guy thought he'd have a great bonus program, and a consultant came in and said, "Your people don't give a damn about bonus programs. What you need to do is get a better real estate person, get better locations for your business." So, and he did, and he got better locations, and he was more profitable. But speaking of more profitable, before we all go, if anybody knows a staff accountant, I got a $90,000 staff accountant position in Pensacola, Florida, and we got a $80,000 staff accountant position in Atlanta. I've probably worked two staff accountant positions in my short but illustrious 43 years, and now I'm working two more over the last week. $90,000 in Pensacola, Florida, and $80,000 in Atlanta. Ironically, Pensacola is paying better.
If you want to send me the details on that, write it out,
Yep.
and I'll see what I can do.
Okay, good. Will do.
Well, folks, I've got a jet because I've got an appointment here in about 15 minutes I got to get ready for. But it was great seeing everybody.
We're all going.
Howard, enjoy the wedding. I hope everything comes off without a hitch.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Happy St.
Yeah,
Patrick's
yeah.
Day.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Y'all take care.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right.
Well, thank you all for coming
Savannah,
to.
Savannah will be going crazy this weekend.
All right. Let the sauce be with you.